beautiful playing, Hiro. Let's start with the second movement, if you don't mind. The feeling I have is that you're both dangerously close to playing the piece in 8 when it's in 2. Now that's a tricky proposition. In 2/4, but the 16ths are prominent, especially at the beginning because they're heard in the cello pizzicato. And cellists like to kind of make a big deal about them too. Of course, we forget sometimes that the theme is actually in the piano. The theme is not. That's not the theme. It's. Right? Of course, we know that, but actually, it's hard to get the listener to understand that when the prominent figure is not the sustained piano line, which tends to die away, partially because I think the tempo can be too slow. But the prominent line is this. That's one of the issues. The next issue is in the second movement. I personally feel that whatever tempo you choose, there shouldn't be a conflict between the 2s and the 3s. And what I mean by that is when you have a situation like when the tempo gets too slow, this is what we hear. And suddenly it becomes awkward. Like, where do you put that triplet? It's like, you try to place it around the duplet. The pianist tries to sort of fit the duplet into the triplet. It doesn't quite work. It's just an awkward moment that we hope to get over without it sounding too bad. And I think that's an indication of this tempo, that it's too slow. If that's what you're left with. Why? Because I think basically what we have here is a kind of lullaby figure. It's a kind of big swing. If you just didn't have the duplets there, that would be the tempo you'd want to hear it. You wouldn't want to hear it. Sounds stretched out and it loses its pulse. So I think that's important. After that, the 16ths can glide more easily. That's your tempo. And if you think in 2, that's still 1, 2. That's not fast in terms of 2. Now, I admit, it could be argued that it's not 2/4. It's really 4/8. Some people have that theory, that Brahms and people like that did use that time signature. But I think there may be one exception to that. I just can't recall where it is. Let's start with that. Whatever tempo you choose, I still think that anyway, there has to be a tranquility and almost a pastoral quality to it. And that one shouldn't feel this constant conflict of rhythms against each other. Okay. I don't think that's what this music's about, personally. Let's try it. And we should always hear the piano. I mean, I don't mean that you're overbalancing. We should understand that that's where the theme is. Okay. When it's too slow, the piano notes, of course it's going to die away. It has to. Yeah, now you have good tempo. You don't have to play so discreetly. You can still. Now, suggestion. Good tempo, fill the beat with the pizzicato. Don't suppress it, but fill the beat. So help her go to the next beat. Okay? Good. Beautiful. And don't be afraid to make the crescendo to 4/3. Because it is there. It's not a big thing. Let's think big in terms of warmth, not a, powerful force. because in fact the figure is a. It's not. It more lifts, then comes out. Now be careful, Hiro. You have a beautiful tone in vibrato, but don't let it get like that. That's a fine line. It can be relaxed, it can be comfortable, but when it gets like this, and you can actually start counting the vibrations per second. Because also, it starts to sound a little sentimental. It's nice, but try to contain that a little bit. And don't let it. It shouldn't be the main feature of the sound. It's an element in the sound. You have a beautiful bow, the way you handle the bow and all that. I'm just a little bit sort of centered on your vibrato. Okay. Then it's maybe things are a little out of balance. Okay? A beautiful vibrato. Just try to keep it all in one piece. Yeah, mostly it's the feeling that emotion is coming. You're tending to restrict your motion there. Okay? When you're too tense here, you're forced to loosen it up there. Let's try to change the balance of that a little bit, if you don't mind. Let's try to release some tension from there. And rather than this feeling, let's go for this feeling. Let me do it. Okay. That feeling. Can you see what that does? Can you feel the difference? What you're feeling in here? Do you feel a difference? Yes. So when you do this, you're closing. Okay? Now you have a good ear and you have a beautiful sense of sound, so you're looking for that freedom somewhere. You'll find it there. Meanwhile, that's tight. If you try this, now basically you can control more things. You can still go back to what you were doing, but you're going to be free here now. You know? Let's try that. Yeah. Keep this part of the action. Yeah. Now, if you want to focus that more, you can just change the elements here. How much are you letting this stuff, react to that? You can change all that. They're subtle muscular changes, but you just have to think it and you'll do it. You know what I mean? You can have a much looser feel in here and here and here and all that. That's what changes the vibrato. Not just the amplitude and the speed, but how much actually there's reaction here or lack thereof. You can let them more play or without even changing speed. It's the same speed actually. It doesn't appear to be, but it is. That's by feeling more intensity or less in the finger. Okay? But that's, of course, still ultimately all controls first from here. I would say Hiro, beautiful. I don't know for this is ultimately personal. For me, when you're playing, I hear this. And I hear more of this. Did you hear something else?
Release of the notes.
No, there was something even more basic than that. Here, I'll play the just first note. I would hear this.
I guess I'm more concentrated.
You didn't hear anything else? I'll do it again. I'm doing every time? I'm playing sharper when I play the Hiro version, and I'm playing flatter when I play the Gary version.
Oh.
And you just said when I played the Gary version, it sounded brighter. Isn't that interesting? Yes, that's interesting. You're playing for my taste, but this is ultimately personal. You're not playing out of tune. You're playing for me what is on the sharp side, pretty consistently throughout the movement, if I could say. And that's not a. It's a criticism in terms of how I hear it. I'm not telling you you're playing out of tune. You're playing certainly in the realm of what is considered in tune. What I'm talking about is something more subtle than that. I'm talking about when you play this chord. If you could play just that first chord. That's where I hear personally, but I don't hear here. And interestingly, you said that sounds brighter. And that tells you something anyway. It's not logical, is it? I'm playing flatter and it sounds brighter. But maybe because you actually are hearing the harmony more completely then. You know. But try it. Yeah, good. I love the F sharp. The G sharp was already back to the old Hiro. Yeah, right in the center. We're talking about like bullseye. You know what? It's not a question of playing in or out of tune. It's kind of more basic. It's getting to the heart of the pitch. And I don't mean in an intonation way, but expressively. Getting right to the heart of it. I have a feeling that when you do that, you might not be as inclined to over-vibrate. There's an expression of just being right in the center of the note. You know, not sort of around the issue, but just right there. Okay? Let's go to... Of course, that's another situation. Sonority, dark, right? And menacing. So think about vibrato and what that will do. Okay, go back to Happy Hiro. I don't know that. Is that a happy phrase? No. It's dark, ominous, foreboding, mysterious, evocative. That kind of stuff. So is it A string or D string?
Probably D string.
Maybe. Let's try it. Yeah, and is it pretty?
No.
So maybe not pretty vibrato, something other than that. Good. Hiro. Dare I ask you once to do it with your bow and without vibrato, just to find all the expression in your bow. So is that the right slide? Now, I'm not saying it's the wrong one, but is it the right one?
Probably not.
Good. And now, please feel free to vibrate, but look for the sound and the quality of the sound in the bow, and then add just what you need, but not extra, not too much makeup, you know? Just go to the heart of the matter. See, I'm not sure the upbeat is energized. I mean, if I were to think of it or sing it, away from the Hiro shaky. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Do you see what? This kind of, shaking from there. Yeah, let's try to unify it. So that the vibrato impulse is coming from here. From there. Yeah, try to focus it. Let's start with non-vibrato. Now, only add what's needed. Don't release it all. Don't you just release it. What I'm suggesting is start from here and just add. Just add. Don't let it go. Add. kind of sound. Don't lose the bow. Said a slow movement should be chosen, the tempo should be chosen on the basis of what the fastest notes are, and so that the fastest notes sound slow. If that were so, this would be god-awfully slow, because the fastest notes are dee da 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 da, 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Those don't sound slow. Dee 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 dee. So that would make your tempo. So I think it's actually possible that in a slow movement there can be fast notes. I think it's allowable, seriously. Therefore, even though this may sound fast to you, maybe you shouldn't be hanging on to them so much. Just feel in one. Between maintaining the calm and at the same time having a sense of fluidity. But if you think in larger groupings, that very often is really the key. It still maintains its calm, but there's motion, you know. So you don't have to actually slow everything down for it to sound calm. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a little bit of the first movement.
Okay.
One important thing I think in the whole opening section, what is the theme? The theme, there's a gesture, da-da, that becomes the basis of everything thematic in the movement. The whole theme is really a theme group, which is what, about 27 or 28 measures? Well, basically till here, 20, 22 measures, you know? And when does he mark piano the first time? In that end of the measure.
Yes.
22nd measure. Okay. Which means da-dum, da-dum, ti-di, da-dum, it's all in forte. Da-da-dum, da-da-di, da-da. So all of your phrasing, all of your, whatever you do, maintain the forte. You can phrase, but don't go into piano. Okay? Phrase, taper, all of that, but don't die out every time. Okay? Otherwise it sounds like da-dum, da-dum, di-da-da-da. New phrase. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-di-da. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. It becomes like 5, 6, 7 phrases. It's only one.
Okay.
With dips, valleys, peaks. Okay? Can you try? A gesture of 3 at least there. Okay? Not da-da, 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 da-dum, da-dum, di-di. Each release gives the next.
Okay.
Okay? Positive and open, it's not something else. Yeah, you're playing it kind of warmly and openly. Maybe it's something else. It's suggested and dark and the start of something else. Right? Well, this is still. This comes from da 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 da. Desperation. What instrument would play that in the orchestra? What you just played?
Maybe the brass.
Oh, okay. Which one? What, the whole brass?
Maybe just the tuba.
How about timpani? Bum 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 bum. You've heard it all the time. Bum bum bum. So maybe you could play it like an upbeat but down low. Yes. The lift perhaps. Da yum dee dee dum but